Now switching to machine learning, which are indispensable for finding data-driven solutions and for studying complex relationships in the data. I applied machine learning in several projects, for example, studying second depths in Chesapeake Bay, studying environmental factors affecting golden tilefish, and also for estimating oxygen using information from Argo floats, temperature and salinity data. I specifically would like to present again the third project, which was developed in collaboration with Donata Giglio from University of Colorado at Boulder and Matt Maslow from UC San Diego. So Argo floats are devices which are deployed in the ocean, and then they provide information about the ocean. The float first deployed and then descends to drifting depth of 1,000 meters, where it drifts for 10 days, then further descends down to 2,000 meters, and then starts to go up and measure the information about the water column or profile it. As it reaches the surface, it transmits the data to a satellite and transmits GPS location. Right after that, it goes down to 1,000 meters and the next cycle begins. The floats live about up to 5 years. There are about 3,900 floats right now in the ocean. And the information that the floats transmit is important for us to know the water quality conditions in the ocean, of course, and the locations each time the float transmits the information can help to study the underwater currents. The cylindrical floats can go up to 2,000 meters. Spherical floats, which are more expensive, can go deeper. And of course, there are also different sets of sensors on those floats, which make them more expensive. The most popular sensors are for temperature and salinity. So we wanted to use the temperature and salinity data to forecast or to estimate other data, such as oxygen, or we could also use other biochemical variables, such as carbon content. The map on the right shows, with the black dots, the location of Argo float profiles, which had oxygen, temperature, and salinity over 5 years. And we use this data to estimate oxygen over the Southern Ocean using the random forest approach of machine learning. We also evaluated different strategies to optimize the float deployment. For example, the red dots are for hypothetical new floats between Argentina and South Africa, and the blue dots are hypothetical new ocean gliders off the coast of Chile and Australia. So random forest consists of trees, and here is an example of a regression tree similar to what is used by random forest. Each node here reports average concentration of oxygen in micromole per kilogram and the percentage of the total sample size. So starting from the full sample size, 100%, we will find a covariate that will split the data into most distinct subsets. In this case, it's salinity, and salinity splits the data into 2 subsets with average concentrations of oxygen 238 and 282. Further splits can be made using the same variable or different variable until some optimality criteria are met. The nodes below are so-called terminal nodes, serve as predictions from this tree for certain combination of covariates. For example, if salinity is below 34.4, so we go here. If salinity is below 34.1, we go here. And if temperature is above 8 degrees Celsius, then we go to this terminal node of 237 micromole per kilogram, which corresponds roughly to 1% of the data. This could be a prediction of oxygen based on temperature and salinity. Random forest builds multiple such trees, which actually go deeper, split data more. Each tree is built on a bootstrap sample of the original data, so the trees are slightly different from each other. And in aggregated version, in a random forest, they provide more stable results than any single tree. With random forest, we also can look at the average effects that the model estimates. If we fix all covariates and then try to vary only one of them. For example, we fix all covariates and let's study the effects of temperature. So we'll assume that all temperatures in our data set are set to 0 degrees Celsius, and then we will study the average effect that the random forest projects. And then we'll change the temperature to another one, and we'll have this response function, which is also called partial dependence plot from random forest. Since the method was new for the oceanographers, we also had to prove that it was working, and we evaluated the skill of the method using another set of data. We fit random forest in parallel to two types of data. One is Argo profiles, which is the observed data. Another is the profiles sampled from model called Southern Ocean State Estimate at exactly the same location and times. So with model data, we were able to evaluate the errors when we extrapolate, basically see the regions where the random forest performs well or not. So these were the results. The left map, the color shows the predicted concentrations of oxygen using Argo floats. The dark dots denote locations where the random forest, which was ran specifically on saucy data, had relative error above 1.5%. The threshold was suggested by oceanographers. To me, it's relatively low, so relatively conservative estimate of the error is not that high. So that's why we have many dots here. And the white dots denote locations where the error of the random forest, again, ran based on model profiles, was above the standard deviation from the model. And the standard deviations from the model are shown on the right. In other words, the color without dots on this map, it's the area where we expect high quality estimates from our method. We can also see that these locations with white dots, which basically show more severe deviations, correspond to locations where we had no oxygen data at first. So we had to extrapolate, again, between Argentina and South Africa and off the coast of Chile, here and there. Ran different simulation scenarios using the model to evaluate different strategies for deploying more floats, again, because they're expensive and we need to optimize their location to find the best estimates.